What's up, everyone? The stock market turned on the jets today and broke new all-time highs yet again. The S&P 500 index literally got within 11 cents of the 5,000 mark. So that's pretty crazy. In this video, we have a lot of crazy stocks to talk about. We had some pretty big earnings over the past 24 hours, and that has made for some pretty good setups for tomorrow. So stick with us all the way to the end. We're going to talk about some setups and predictions. We're going to talk about some important things to know. And then towards the end of the video, we're going to talk about a $832,000 big money trade from today. But Tom, let's get right into today's episode.
Yeah, Mike, the market did very, very well. Like you said, broke out to a new all-time high, and I think everybody has that key $500 level on watch with the SPY. Like you said, SPX almost hit 5,000. We might as well say that it did. You know, it was so close that whenever you're talking about a $5,000 stock, or, you know, index, for it to get within just a few cents, that's definitely looking at, you're pretty much testing that level there. So we have to watch this carefully into tomorrow. Will we continue to break out? I really hope so, Mike. We had some good earnings tonight from Disney. The mouse is actually moving up in after hours quite a bit, up to 107. And we saw good continuations out of Palantir and a few big tech stocks today, like Nvidia, which was blasting back to the upside, recovering up from that drop yesterday. So good recoveries today, great breakouts, and man, this movement is fantastic across the market.
Tom, did I hear that correctly? You said Disney was up on earnings? That's not something you hear too often lately. But yeah, looking at Disney stock in after hours today, they reported earnings and they had some pretty big news in multiple different viewpoints. So Tom, fill us in.
Yeah, so first things first, I think the big thing that I saw is they're taking a $1.5 billion stake in Epic Games, which works with Fortnite. For everybody who does not know that, if you don't know Fortnite by now, you're either old or you're living under a rock. One or the other. But, man, Fortnite is one of the most popular games out there. I know a ton of kids play it. Older people play it even. It is huge. Disney's already worked with Fortnite before to bring characters to them. And I saw some really interesting things. Like, they're going to be developing games using characters from obviously Disney's, I guess you'd say, ecosystem. But overall, this is a pretty big thing for Disney that they're doing this stake and that they're going to go ahead and work on new games and stuff. I think that that'll really help propel them over the longer term. And there was even news with ESPN where they're going to have a direct-to-consumer service where you can now watch ESPN without having to have a cable provider. They already have ESPN Plus, but, you know, for everybody who isn't too familiar with that, you still have to log into your cable provider to actually watch the actual ESPN channel, but you still can watch some games with the ESPN Plus. But not to get into that too deep, Mike, Disney's having a fantastic earnings here, and I'll say this, the numbers weren't even that good, right? Like the EPS beat, the revenue actually missed, but their guidance was, I think, what really was the icing on the cake here.
Exactly. So they did have a nice beat with the EPS, and their guidance was pretty good, like you said. And they also increased their dividend as well. But I really think what's happening with Disney is just like a combination of multiple different pieces of good news. When you have the $1.5 billion stake in Epic Games, that's pretty big. When you have EPS rising and beating expectations by a decent amount, that's pretty good. You had the ESPN news, that's pretty good. So I think it was mainly the news that lifted this one higher today. And then on top of that, the stock has just been taking an absolute beating since like the beginning of 2021. This stock has been just like non-stop, just been getting hammered on over the past couple of years. And when you look at many different areas of the market right now, most of them have recovered quite a bit from the lows that they made in 2022, while Disney is one of those stocks that is kind of like lagging behind. So it kind of makes sense to see this one finally seeing just a little bit of daylight.
Yeah, thank God we are, right? I know Disney's taken a lot of flack politically as well. There's been so much politically charged news with Disney. I know some people are even dropping their shares of Disney while they were low just because of the fact that, you know, the politics were getting annoying, and I understand that. But whenever I look at Disney, Mike, it just to me, whenever it was lower, like let's say 85 to 90, it was just providing such a good opportunity to get into a great company at a low price. Bob Iger started taking over, and since his takeover, I've been really happy with what Disney has been doing. They've been turning things around a little bit. They've been even kind of getting out of some of that stuff that they were into with the TV stations that might have been hurting them a little bit. They're focusing more on ESPN and more flagship stuff. So I love it with Disney. I know some people are going to hate that they're moving like this, but hey, it's one of those companies that's been around for a long time. The mouse is not going anywhere.
And Disney's one of those stocks where, like, it's not like Nvidia where it'll pop up by 100% in a month, but it is one of those stocks where, like, when it moves, it normally does move with some pretty consistent price action and, you know, a good amount of momentum overall. So looking at Disney for tomorrow, keep a close eye on it. Again, when it has that momentum on its side, it can definitely move for extended periods of time. And Tom, while Disney had a pretty good day, one stock that didn't have the best day, you can say, is Alibaba, and you beat me to it. So they reported earnings today, and at first they started to run up after their earnings report, but nah, it just got rejected again. And Alibaba had a mixed earnings report. They had some good things and they had some bad things in the report. They're increasing their share buyback program by $25 billion, which is pretty good. At the same time, they did miss their revenue expectations, though. But as we said in yesterday's video, Alibaba and just like with Chinese stocks overall, the Chinese government is doing just about everything they possibly can to get their stocks starting to trend in the right direction. So that definitely helps Alibaba, but we'll have to see if the Chinese government can do, at this point, anything else to get their stocks moving in the right direction.
Man, it's really too bad that Baba had to have this down day like this. I thought that it would end up being a moment where Baba could start to get that good momentum back, where they would start to move back to the upside, but nope, they're starting to move back down in a pretty bad way. But I'll say this, whenever I go out to the daily chart, Baba's down, but it's not out yet. There's still major supports here coming up right around 70 bucks. That will be huge. I have an alert placed there just in case it hits. That's going to be a spot I look at over the next couple weeks, but I still think as long as it holds these lower levels here, there's still a good chance because the government, as we know, will keep propping it up and doing everything it can to keep it higher.
Exactly. And then, Tom, there's one stock today that just blasted to the upside in after hours, and that is ARM. This stock is going nuclear after they reported earnings. Tell us more. Fill us in.
Oh my gosh, from where it closed to where it is now, it's up like 28%. It was almost hitting 30% a minute ago. Almost at $100 per share, guys. This stock closed at $77 here. They beat all across the board. They beat on expectations. They beat on revenue. They beat on EPS. They ended up beating, they had great guidance. And get this, the guidance wasn't small by any means either. They're expecting guidance with sales of $780 million, and now they actually came out and said that they're now expecting $850 to $900. That blows the analyst expectation out of the water. So Mike, ARM is a huge chip stock. They work with a ton of companies like NVIDIA, actually. So just keep that in mind, too. But it's a huge chip stock out there. And, hey, they said the A word, so we know they're going to be moving.
AI, it's one of those magical keywords now that almost gets any stock to move in the right direction. So keep a close eye on ARM for tomorrow. Lately, we have been seeing a decent amount of stocks that report good earnings just continue up, just like Palantir over the past 2 days. So when it comes to ARM, it's kind of the same situation. If there's a lot of momentum tomorrow, feel free to ride it. Like I said, just like the way Palantir has been moving over the past couple of days, especially when you have an AI stock. When these stocks move with good price action and good momentum, it's kind of like trying to stop a freight train.
It really is, and it's sitting right around $100 a share right now. And one big thing with ARM, too, is like they're in that chip sector, so watch out for that to maybe fuel more upside tomorrow. You know, these chip stocks are going ballistic, SPY right around all-time highs. Well, made new all-time highs today. Maybe we'll see if it can get around to $500 tomorrow. We will have to see, but ARM isn't as influential as like Apple or NVIDIA, but it definitely is like a new big player on the block.
No doubt about that. So we've had a lot of exciting earnings reports so far this week, but there are still a couple more to watch out for. So for tomorrow, we do have some stocks like Affirm and Pinterest set to report, and a handful of others, but keep these stocks close on watch for tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. And I will say in pre-market, there's even CCJ reporting a bit of an outlier in Spirit Airlines. So I guess there's some smaller stocks there. But hey, tomorrow will be pretty big in its own right. And there's really nothing on the economic calendar side of things. So we're all good there.
Perfect. All right, one other thing, Tom, is I came across this pretty interesting chart today that basically shows you could say stocks in the market and how good they've been doing over the past year. So basically, we are in a market right now where about 37% of companies in the S&P 500 are only within 5% of their 52-week high. Like, that's pretty crazy. And then 70% of stocks in the S&P 500 are within 50 or 15% of their 52-week high. So this basically goes to show that, we're seeing a decent amount of bullishness spread across the rest of the market. At first, it was mainly like the big tech stocks just carrying the way, but as we can see, we're seeing more and more companies get closer to their 52-week high, and it definitely reinforces the bullishness that the market has been experiencing.
Man, there's some crazy stocks in here. Like you said, it's not all big tech stocks. Like, obviously, NVIDIA, Meta, AMD. But look at this. We got RCL here, Lululemon, another one, Procter & Gamble. Like, man, those are some pretty big, like, sometimes in Procter & Gamble's case, more of like a slower type of stock. So I find this very interesting. But what a chart, right? It just shows I guess, where the breadth of the market is right now. Everything's around all-time highs, or not all-time highs like this says 52-week highs, but even the amount of stocks around all-time highs is kind of breathtaking too, like NVIDIA, Meta, Microsoft, and way more.
Exactly. All right, Tom, well, let's get into the fun stuff for today, which are some setups for tomorrow. One stock I'm watching pretty closely is Enphase. This is a solar company that at one point was a very hyped up and very loved stock, but since that point, some of the hype has faded. But looking at Enphase today, it was up by around 17%, and it did pretty good overall. If this stock can get back to like that 123 area, again with some like good price action and good momentum, I think this one can definitely go on like an earnings continuation run, but I really want to see this stock get back to like that 123 area first. So I'm going to have a close eye on it to the upside for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Enphase is starting to come back alive a little bit, and I think a lot of people are going to start to look to buy this one off the dip. It's one of those stocks that's been lingering around, and it's good to see it moving up on earnings. With my next play, I'm going with Citigroup with the first one. It's a bit of a weird one for me. I don't mention banks all the time, but they've been dipping lately, and whenever we go out to the daily chart on banks, they're getting very high in the short term, but they're on an amazing run. The big thing is there's a bit of support here right around $54. If that keeps holding, I'll look for a break of 55, and for this stock to continue up, maybe for a couple days here. You don't have to look for anything crazy like up to $60 or anything, but even a nice move to like 56, 57 could be a decent move for Citigroup over the next couple days.
All right, sounds good. Another stock I'm watching pretty closely is SE. So this stock is pretty oversold in the grand scheme of things. And what I like about this one is that it doesn't really care what the overall market does. And it actually has a pretty decent like negative correlation to the market over the past year or so. But anyways, the stock is starting to move to the upside in a pretty good way. And it has been holding the like $35 support level very strongly since like August of 2023. But basically, I'm looking to play this one to the upside. It has some resistance around that $46 area, but between like $44 and $46, there's a decent amount of room for like a short-term play.
Yeah, and that's almost filling the gap back from November, too. So I like it. I like this stock quite a bit, Mike. I like the setup. I like the support. Looks awesome. I'll definitely keep it on the radar for tomorrow. With my next one, I'm looking at Meta. Now, Meta is a pretty interesting one, but I love the way it closed up here around a tie. And whenever you look at it on the chart, it had that really strong close today. Especially with ARM continuing, I would think that these chip stocks have a good chance to continue up. I know Meta is not necessarily a chip stock, but it's in that tech sector. So as I watch Meta, if it breaks 472, I will look at it for calls to the upside. At the same time, there's a pretty good intraday support at 466. If we happen to wake up tomorrow and Meta's moving down, if that breaks, I think there could actually be opportunity down too, but I'm really looking for that main move to the upside.
All right, sounds good. So I will keep a close eye on that one as well, but let's get right into today's momentum plays. And with the first one, we have SAVA to the upside.
Cassava, I like this one quite a bit. If it can break above 25.60, go ahead and look at calls. It broke resistance there, end of day around 25.
All right, with the next one, we have Amazon, but to the downside.
Poor Amazon here getting the shaft today, I guess. But if they end up falling under 169.20, that support right around open, then look at puts.
All right, and then with the last one, we have TLT for both directions.
TLT, what do we call this, Mike? Old Faithful?
or Mysterious, the Mysterious TLT.
That's it, the Mysterious. If it breaks 95.20 tomorrow, go ahead and look at some mysterious calls. If it ends up falling under 94.50, then maybe look at puts. And I'm kind of leaning down on this one tomorrow.
Yeah, TLT is one of those, I guess you could say, stocks that moves in such an interesting way because it's tied with interest rates and all that good stuff. And it's at a point right now where it's just consolidating and, waiting for its next real move. So, obviously keep a close eye on both of the levels Tom listed for tomorrow. TLT, if it breaks below the downside level, we're watching it for puts. If it breaks above the upside level, we are watching it for calls. And then don't forget about Amazon and then SAVA with both of their levels as well. These are 3 momentum plays, and they're only plays tomorrow if they break the levels Tom listed. If they don't break the levels, then find a new setup. We're looking for strong, powerful movement and a whole lot of momentum. So keep a close eye on these ones for tomorrow. But Tom, let's talk more about the big money $832,000 trade that we hinted about earlier in the video. So we are looking at ticker symbol SCHW, which is Charles Schwab, and basically the big money dumped, again, $832,000 into the $67.50 strike call options that expire on January 17th of 2025. Charles Schwab has been moving in a pretty good way over like the past year or so, and many other big financial institutions have been doing the same thing. The big money is basically betting that this uptrend will continue, and I don't entirely blame them. Basically, looking at these call options, they definitely have potential. They're not too far out of the money, and they have a decent amount of time. So I think if someone's like willing to give this setup the time it needs, then I think it definitely has potential.
Yeah, like you said, there's a ton of time to this. It's almost a year out at this point. And whenever I start to look at this stock overall, there's these big supports down here around $50 to $55. If we could get back down into that range, I think that maybe entering down there would be even better. But I do like the play. I'll be watching this one very, very closely, and I think it's a good dip buy opportunity. You know, Schwab has been dipping over the past few months. This pullback is actually fairly significant. From the high to where we are now, it's down like 12%. So that's a pretty big pullback. So if it can start to move back up, I think this would be a fantastic call play. In the short term, I'm going to be looking for a pop of like $63, and then, that might signify more of a shorter term move, but there is a lot of time to this, guys, so keep in mind it probably won't be a play necessarily for the next 2 days or so.
Exactly. That's the thing. You have to give it the time it needs, or else it's just, worth finding a different setup. But keep a close eye on this one going forward. But Tom, there were some pretty big moves in the market today, and I know we talked about this one a little bit earlier, and you already beat me to it, but that's Palantir. So many people have been trading this one, and the moves lately have been just phenomenal with this stock. And with that, we have to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, ePlace22. He crushed it with his Palantir positions today, and he's been in the chat for some time now, so huge shout out to our member of the day, ePlace22. Keep up the great work. And Tom, look at those percentage gains on some of these Palantir calls.
Oh my gosh, 2,295% at that moment on those 21 strike calls. That is nuts. The other ones were up 356%. Like, Holy crap, that is some of the higher percentages that I've, seen over the years of somebody getting in the Discord. So great job, ePlays. Keep up the great work, right? And hopefully Palantir keeps moving the way it does, because the opportunities have been amazing lately. And I know the bots have even hit on it a lot too.
Big time. And if you guys are new to the channel and you just like our videos, then make sure to demolish that subscribe button. We post all the time, and when you subscribe, you will see our videos recommended to you more often. So come join the Stocked Up crew. Obviously, it doesn't cost you anything, and start watching our videos more often. But looking at everything, Tom, the market is getting more and more exciting. It's crazy to even say this, but at the same time, I really shouldn't even be too surprised. But Nvidia is back right at its all-time high, you can say, of around $706 a share. It's like every single week we talk about this stock, it's, oh, surprise, surprise, Nvidia made a new all-time high. Like, it's so crazy to say this, but in the beginning of the year, Nvidia was trading for like $475 a share, and like, it's over $700 now. Like, it's crazy.
It really is, and guess who hit on it? Nancy Pelosi, right? Making $1 million. Shout out to the best trader out there, guys. Light her up in the comments. Let me know if you think it's cool she does that. Let me know if you think, it should be illegal. Either way, though, flame her up down there. I can't wait to read some of these. I think they'll be hilarious.
I will attach the short we just made about Nancy Pelosi and her $1 million profitable Nvidia trade in the comments down below. So feel free to check that out. It's a good one. But besides that, thank you guys so much for watching. The market is moving in some pretty big ways right now. So there's a lot of opportunity in multiple different ways. And let's have a great rest of the week. Thanks for watching.